My life had always been steady, like a metronome. At 34, I had a promising career in finance, a close-knit group of friends, and, until recently, a fiancée I adored. Vanessa was everything I thought I wanted in a partner: brilliant, quick-witted, and with a smile that could light up any room. With our wedding just 3 months away, we were consumed by the chaos of seating charts, caterer decisions, and honeymoon plans. I thought I was happy. I thought we were happy. It all unraveled one Friday evening. Vanessa had gone to bed early after a long week. As I sat reviewing a presentation for work, her phone buzzed incessantly on the nightstand. At first, I tried to ignore it, but one notification caught my eye: "I miss you too." Wish things were different. The words hit me like a punch to the gut. I told myself not to look. Snooping wasn't something I ever believed in, but my hands moved on their own. Her passcode wasn't a secret. When I unlocked her phone, what I found turned my stomach. The conversation was with her ex, Alex. The texts weren't just a one-off or a casual exchange, they were an ongoing dialogue, filled with confessions of lingering feelings. Vanessa's words were seared into my mind: "I miss you so much it hurts sometimes. I'm scared I'm making a mistake." I read and reread the messages, hoping I was misunderstanding, but the words didn't change. My world, the future I thought we were building together, started to crumble. I set the phone down carefully, almost reverently, as though it might shatter under the weight of my discovery. I spent the night staring at the ceiling, my mind spiraling into a dark abyss of doubt and betrayal. The next morning, I couldn't hold it in. When Vanessa came into the kitchen, her smile faded the moment she saw my face. "What's wrong?" she asked, her voice laced with concern. I slid her phone across the table. "Care to explain this?" Her face turned ghostly pale. She picked up the phone, her hands trembling. The silence was unbearable. Finally, she whispered, Jason, don't," I interrupted. My voice was low, but the weight of my anger and hurt was undeniable. "I just want the truth. Are you still in love with him?" Tears welled up in her eyes. "It's not that simple. I love you, but Alex. He was such a big part of my life. When he reached out, I thought I was over it, but what?" I stood abruptly, the chair scraping loudly against the floor. "We're planning a wedding, Vanessa. You're supposed to be sure." "I am sure about us," she said desperately. I was just confused. "Talking to him made me realize how much I want to be with you, so you needed him to remind you." My voice cracked with the weight of my heartbreak. "Do you even hear yourself?" She reached for my hand, but I pulled away. "Please, Jason, let's talk this through. Don't throw everything away over some stupid texts." "Stupid texts?" I echoed, my voice rising. "You told him you missed him. That you were scared you were making a mistake. If that's how you feel, then maybe we are a mistake." Her sobs filled the room, but I couldn't stay. I grabbed my keys and left, driving aimlessly until I ended up at my best friend Marcus's apartment. When he opened the door and saw me, he didn't say a word, just stepped aside to let me in. Over the next few hours, I spilled everything. Marcus listened without interruption, his usual jovial demeanor replaced with quiet concern. When I finished, he said, "Man, you've got to figure out what's best for you. But trust is everything. If you can't trust her, how can you build a life together?" I spent the weekend at Marcus's place, ignoring Vanessa's calls and texts. I needed space to think. By Sunday evening, the answer became clear: I couldn't marry someone who wasn't fully committed to me. When I returned to our shared apartment to gather my things, Vanessa was waiting, her eyes red and puffy. "Jason, please don't do this," she begged. I looked at her, my heart breaking even as I stood firm. "I love you, Vanessa. But I can't marry someone who's not sure they love me back." She broke down completely, but I didn't waver. I packed a suitcase and left, walking out not just on our apartment but on the life I thought we were building together. The following weeks were a blur of rebuilding. I buried myself in work, reconnected with old friends, and picked up hobbies I'd neglected. I changed my phone number and blocked Vanessa on social media. Ghosting her wasn't about spite. It was survival. I needed to heal. Time passed. The pain of betrayal dulled but didn't disappear. I started finding joy in small things again, a good book, a great workout, a quiet moment watching the sunrise. I realized losing Vanessa didn't mean losing myself. Just when I thought I was moving on, a package arrived at my office. Inside was a journal, with Vanessa's handwriting on the first page. A note fell out: "This is everything I couldn't say to your face. If you read it, maybe you'll understand." Against my better judgment, I opened it. The entries were raw and unfiltered, detailing her struggles, her confusion, and her guilt. She wrote about how Alex's messages had blindsided her, how she tried to suppress feelings she thought were gone, and how much she hated herself for jeopardizing our future. The last entry was written the night before I left. "Jason, I know I've ruined everything. But you're the love of my life, and if I never get the chance to tell you this again, I need you to know. I'm sorry for my weakness. I'm sorry for hurting you. I wish I could take it all back." My hands shook as I closed the journal. Her words hit me hard. For the first time since it all happened, I felt something other than anger or pain. But was it enough? One evening, as I stood on the balcony of my new apartment, staring at the city lights, my phone buzzed. It was an unknown number. I hesitated before answering. "Jason." Her voice was soft, tentative. I didn't reply immediately, my throat tightening. Finally, I said, "Vanessa, what do you want?" I just wanted to hear your voice," she admitted. "I know I don't deserve anything from you, but if there's any part of you that still believes in us, I'd do anything to fix this." My grip on the railing tightened. My heart waged a silent war with my mind. Finally, I exhaled deeply. "I don't know if I can forgive you, Vanessa. But maybe. Maybe we can talk." The call ended with a promise to meet. I knew the road ahead would be anything but simple. Trust, once shattered, isn't easily rebuilt. But for the first time, I felt the faintest flicker of hope. And sometimes, that's enough to begin again. But as I hung up, a new thought clawed at my mind. Had I moved too quickly, or not quickly enough? What if reopening the door meant exposing myself to more heartbreak? A voice in my head whispered, "Once burned, twice shy." And yet, another part, the one that remembered Vanessa's laughter, her kindness, urged me to take the risk. As the city lights twinkled around me, I realized that no matter what I decided, the scars of this betrayal would remain. The only question was whether they would heal together or apart.